Long ago, a crystal of ancient mana came to rest at the center of the world. From it, magic spread across every corner of existence. Creature rose beneath open skies, across untamed lands, and within the deepest seas. Life and mystery grew wherever its power reached, all of it bound together by one source, the Mana Heart. Hey guys, welcome to my first episode of the Mana Heart series. Now this episode is called The Search because today we're going to figure out which part of this world we're going to focus on first. So here you can see I already started on some sort of shape design of this country. So I use this texture brush to be able to figure out what interesting shape I can make so that I can figuring out like the feel of this country, so we can figure out where the mountains and the flat area of this country is, so we can figure out like what type of environment there will be in this place. So as I keep going, I make these gray shapes, figure out where the shorelines is and darker area for the mountains. So as it's evolved, we start to reach to a design that we are happy with. So here you can see that I eventually find a shape that I'm very pleased with, and eventually I put in some coloration to figure out, okay, where are we and what type of environment we have here. Is it a lush environment? Is it a cool environment? How tall? Like figure out how tall the terrain is by using giving the mountain like the mountain chain some snow to figure out that the elevation of the terrain. Some part of it will be lush dark green, some part of it will be cold and gray. This is my first design that I went with, and I was somewhat pleased with the result, but I still feel like that they're still missing some sort of characteristic to the map. Like it doesn't have enough personality to the design that I chose. So eventually I went on and create more in-depth texture to the map after this design here. So we finally have reached my last design, and I didn't want to record too long with this one, so I just went on use Clip Studio Paint to create a time lapse. So as you can see here, that I have more depths and more other color tone in terms of just the green and the white. So now we have some more earthy tone, creating other type of rock, some other type of elevation, like a brown hill and darker rock, rather than just a normal mountain with the snow on top, showing that it's a different elevation to the map. And as well giving some other terrain personality, like having some sort of weird shaped rock in some area of this map here. And on the other side you can see that there is on the snowy side you can see there's blue cracks, and I will go in depth with that area in some other episode. So now that I've reached a very eventual design, you can see that okay, like this is good enough to where I can start putting stuff in here. And once we're done with this country or this terrain, at the end we can finally put some more personality and more unexplored stuff that we can put on this map to create this more refined feature to this map, because right now we don't have a lot to work with here. So I just put in whatever I think is most interesting, and then we can go in there, give it some lore, and then we can fill in the gaps that we're missing. So let me read you the lore of this place. Somewhere beyond the edges of known civilization lies a forgotten and unexplored land called Leto. On most maps, it is marked only by empty space, its terrain unknown and its secret untouched. Sailors and travelers and scholars know little about it, and those who claim to have glimpsed its shores speak only in uncertain stories. The western region of Leto is known as Erdin Cliff, a vast land of rolling grasslands, deep forests, and ancient woodlands. Towering trees rise above green hills, and scattered lakes reflect the sky like glass. The land feels old, almost alive, as if it remembers a time long before anyone ever tried to map it. In the northwest part of Erdin Cliff stands a massive spiral formation of earth and stone, overgrown and ancient. Many believe it was shaped not by nature alone, but by power of ancient gods or primordial beings who once walked this land. Legend says these beings fought and shaped Leto itself. Their clashes carved valleys, raised mountains, and fractured the earth. Even now, the terrain carries the mark of those ancient struggles. East of Erdin Cliff rises a massive chain of mountains and divides the land. Beyond them lies Wilder Glacial, a frozen and hostile region of towering peaks and endless snow. Deep blue cracks glow through the frozen cliffs and ground, stretching across the land like veins of ancient energy. No one truly knows what caused them, only that they are incredibly old and seems to pulse with a power long forgotten. Even now, Leto remains unexplored. No kingdoms have claimed it, no maps fully chart it, and no one truly knows what lies deeper within the forests, mountains, and frozen wastelands. But that is about to change. Together, you and I will explore Leto, uncovering its hidden landscapes, forgotten civilization, mysterious creatures, and the ancient secrets left behind by the being that shaped this land. So, since we have the map, we can finally jump into the environment. So it's like we're zooming in into this place. So as you can see here, I start to create this composition of a big well, because my thought was I want to create a hot spring, a giant hot spring, like a well, and that would be and it would be surrounded by this red rock, like a canyon. So I'm trying to figure out and searching for color tone and how this composition would be and how the lighting would react to each other as good as I can, but I want it to be rough and quick as much as possible, because there's so much more that I could have done with the design. So I want to just keep it light, travel light, figuring out what's the best choices, and sometimes you end up in some sort of accident. You're like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. I can actually keep on working on this. So figuring out like a happy accident in this painting is a fun part right now. So let's keep ourselves pretty loose, and so we can move on. So you can see here, I eventually come into design of this well of hot spring, and that was the thing that I have in mind, but I want to give it more interesting shape to this place. So I made another design for this red area, this rocky area. So I went in for another time-lapse video, so keep this video a little bit short. So you can see here, I create a time-lapse of another terrain, a part of this terrain that have much more interesting rocky terrain, like shaped stone, like as if it was alive. So, and this technique, I kind of watched someone that I like came back to watch on YouTube, and his name is Feng Zhu. So looking at his process of how he uses his brushes, I kind of take his movement into my own work, and it really helps a lot to create these interesting textures. So I didn't just work on this one, I also work on another picture that is, you can see here, is a grassland. So I still feel like a little bit unexperienced when it comes to environment, but hopefully as we go on, I can actually grow and get much more experience in terms of making interesting terrains. So I make these two paintings for today for the terrains. So what we're missing now is wildlife, and yeah. But first, let me read you the lore of the terrains. In the midwestern region of Leto, the landscape changes drastically. The green forests slowly fade into a dry and fractured terrain, where enormous formations of stone rise and curve across the land. These structures do not resemble ordinary mountains. The rock appears twisted and folded, as if the earth itself once moved like waves in the sea before being frozen in place. Massive arches and sweeping ridges stretch across the wasteland, forming shapes that look almost unnatural. It produces long, hollow echoes that carry across the valley. The place feels ancient and unsettled, as though the land still holds the memory of whatever force shaped it. Some old tales suggest powerful beings once walked this land, and that their presence may have reshaped the earth itself, leaving behind the strange wave-like terrain seen today. Not far from the twisted stone formation, also within the midwestern lands of Leto, lies a massive basin filled with enormous hot spring. The ground dips into wide circular craters filled with bright turquoise water, while steam constantly rises from the earth. The land here feels warm and restless. Vents scattered across the basin release steady plumes of steam into the air, and the surrounding soil is stained with vivid mineral color that spread across the valley floor. Some old tales say immense force once struck this land long ago, leaving heat trapped deep beneath the earth. From the midwestern lands to the western region of Leto lies a vast landscape of ancient forest, while in others the trees give way to wide plains of tall grass that sway with the wind. The forests are filled with towering trees, whose massive trunk and thick roots show their great age. Most vines and thick vegetation spread across the forest floor, covering much of what lies beneath. However, the growth of the forest seemed to warp around something else entirely. Beneath the roots and heavy vegetation, enormous wooden forms can be seen, structures shaped almost like a massive body. It is unclear whether these shapes are ancient remains or something that was once alive. Speaking of wildlife, we have to create a cliche, because every single MMORPG we have this your everyday herbivore that I thought of could be nice for a first starter of our animals. And we started off with an animal called Cliffhorn. So let me read you a little bit about the lore of this animal. The Cliffhorns are herbivorous creatures commonly found across the grasslands of Leto. They roam the open plains where forests thin out and wide fields of tall grass stretch across the land. They are easily recognized by their thick, shaggy coats and their long, curved horns that sweep upward from their heads. Their dense fur helps protect them from the shifting climates between the plains and the nearby highlands. Cliffhorns usually move in small herds, grazing slowly across the grasslands. They feed on tall grass, shrubs, and other hardy plants that grows across the plains. Their constant grazing helps shape the landscape, preventing certain areas from becoming overgrown. Despite their size, Cliffhorns are generally calm and cautious animal. When startled, the herd will move together and retreat across the plains, rather than confront danger. However, if threatened too closely, they are capable of defending themselves with their powerful horns. So, once you have an herbivore, you gotta have your carnivore. I've been thinking about this creature for a long time, so how I can chain it together with the lore of the culture of this land. So as you can see, I have finally come to a design of this red drake. I have chosen a quadruped drake that will be living under the ground. So with a bunch of scales on his body, like a crocodile. So I'm pretty pleased with the design because I've been thinking about it for a long time now. So let me read you a little about the lore for this creature. The cinderburrow is a species of drake native to the mountain chains of Leto. These stocky, heavily built reptiles are covered in deep red and dark brown scales, with ridges of hardened spikes running along their backs and tails. They are powerful creatures, well adapted to the rocky slopes and harsh terrain of the mountains. One of their most notable traits is their ability to spit hot embers from their throat. Instead of breathing large streams of fire, cinderburrows release bursts of burning cinders and sparks, which they use to intimidate predators or drive prey out of hiding. When prepared to do so, their throat glows faintly as heat builds within their bodies. Along their backs are small, underdeveloped wing-like appendages, far too small to allow them to fly. These vestigial wings suggest that their distant ancestors may once have been capable of flight. Over many generations, however, the species adapted to the life on the ground. This change may have come from constant pressure from larger predators and rival species. Living among the mountains and rocky terrain, individuals that could burrow, hide, and move low to the ground were more likely to survive. Over time, their bodies became heavier and better suited for digging and climbing, while their wings gradually diminished. Most cinderburrows spend their lives within the mountain range of Leto, carving burrows into warm stone or sheltered cliff faces. From time to time, they descend into the woodlands below to hunt and feed on smaller animals. So, now that we have reached the end of this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, there will be plenty more. We have so many terrains and wildlife and culture of this place. There will be another episode coming up soon. Hopefully I'll get it done for not too far into the future, as soon as possible, because I really want to get this going and I'm very excited to get started. So I want to thank you all very much for tuning in, and hope you enjoy my first episode. I appreciate your time for checking this video out. So please like, subscribe, and do leave a comment for what you want to see next for this world building series, because this won't be the last of this journey. There will be plenty more. Take good care and see you guys soon. Instead of breathing large steams